Hey guys, Roman and Rodez here on another medley.
Little shorts.
Hope you're doing well.
So, we're going to talk about, I don't know, how would you say, staying real to yourself?
Staying authentic?
Authentic, yeah.
Authenticity.
Okay, authenticisms. All right. And the question is sort of, in regards to like your job.
Yeah.
You know,
Uh-huh.
how much are you willing to compromise for doing a job if it goes against your principles? So, like, let me give you an example. So, for me, I'm a grocery store cashier, and I've been offered jobs to work in the oil field, work as a security guard at prisons and holding facilities.
Well-paying jobs.
Well, very good paying jobs. They have amazing benefits. Well, I'd say the oil field's more amazing pay, and for the
prison work,
good benefits. And then they both have good pay, and I don't think oil rig guys really get much in the way of benefits. I could be wrong, but I think they're a little bit.
I think it depends on maybe what company you're working with.
100%. Yeah, the more established ones, I believe you get pretty good benefits. But a lot of the rigs out here are sort of still startups, and I don't want to say they're fly-by-night operations, but it tends to be quick money and quick.
Okay,
jobs.
so you've been offered jobs in these
lots of jobs, right?
Fields.
Yeah.
But
is
there a but?
There's a huge but, and we've for a myriad of reasons. But as far as authenticity goes, I'd say whenever I was offered the oil rig jobs and the the guard jobs, before them I was part of me was very much aware like these are also dangerous jobs. Very physically demanding jobs. But when it came down to it, and part of me was like, yeah, I'm a big guy, I could power through this stuff. Some part of me just like, I don't know if I like that. And I was surprised. I was like,
you don't know if you like the fact that you could power through it, or you don't like the fact that you would have to do that.
I didn't like the job itself, basically.
Okay. Well, yeah.
Like, I mean, you could power through some things that, and it's like, if you really had to, you could. And it's like, I'm not going to begrudge myself if I absolutely was in a situation where I needed to do like a job I didn't agree with. But it was like, even though it would be such a better living situation, part of my brain was just, I didn't realize I cared that much about like oil stuff and, like prisoner stuff. It shocked me. I was like, I know.
So wait, so you say you couldn't do the job because like the environmental issues,
and
like the humane issues.
It's a shock.
So that's okay.
Legitimately, I was like, wow, I didn't think I cared much. And just
the
thing is, like, we have a friend who's in the profession. He's like a guard. We have friends who are in the oil industry. I don't begrudge them nothing. Like, I think that's great for them. Their jobs are interesting. I love hearing about them. But for me. And it was 100% of like, I just couldn't get myself to do it.
Yeah. Because
of, what the jobs are about. And I was shocked. Like, it's like, I need money. I want more money. And those are career type jobs, that have retirements. Yeah. Oil rigs a little bit shakier, but you can make enough money to retire on them if you wanted. And I just couldn't do it. So right now you work as a chef, cook.
That was one of the things that when I started studying to become a cook, there was one thing where they said, there's different jobs, opportunities. There are jobs where you can go to work as a cook on oil rigs out in the ocean. Yeah. And one of my instructors used to do that.
Really?
And but basically you'd go to work. That was good money. You'd go off to work for 2 or 3 weeks at a time. Come back.
Because while you're there, everything's paid for, right?
Everything's
paid
for.
Pretty much like you're just saving up money.
Yes. And also knew another guy who said he was working as a chef in some kind of oil rig. He decided to quit because of the danger aspects. A little while after he quit, there was an accident before he lost a friend in a helicopter crash or something like that. So I know, there's danger to that. Even you're not doing anything with the oil. You're working as, a cook. You're feeding these guys.
Yeah, but you're in the environment of it.
In the environment. But I mean, I would love to work in a. I've worked in a nursing home feeding elderly folk.
No, different.
No. But
I don't like the elderly.
It's satisfying feeding someone who needs it.
Truly
I can find satisfaction feeding guys who are busting their butts.
Yeah.
In a
100%.
job that's
the blue collarest, Texanest job you can have.
Exactly.
Hard working, true. I'm doing a real hard job difficultly, and I'm getting paid. Like, that's a great job for you.
Yeah.
And prideful, and it's a dangerous job.
Other than sometimes working in a restaurant where you're feeding customers who come in, and sometimes maybe not appreciate the service you're giving them.
I didn't appreciate his service. I went to a restaurant recently, and I won't go in too far into it, but legitimately, man, it's like finish chopping a cucumber.
That's how we were taught to chop.
You didn't chop it, though. You cut it. You just chopping four slices.
Yes, and that's how we present it. He doesn't like pretty cucumbers on the salad.
I'm finding this.
It wasn't even his salad.
Palado restaurants, and a lot of places, and salads, they're just not chopping their vegetables right. You know, it's like a soup I can almost understand because it's supposed to get mushy, but even then, the chunks stay together. It can be an issue, especially if you have a plastic fork.
What does chopped cucumbers have to do with the working in oil?
Ethics. Oh, but I have this question.
Yes.
So in relation to cooking, what about ethics in cooking? And I'm talking about things like endangered species and things like foie gras, where, all right, just to clarify, foie gras is goose liver that's prepared by traditionally by force feeding the goose through a hose so that it eats super rich, I think it's grains or something, and it starts making the liver get fatty. Yes, very, very fat. And I believe there also are other ways that they can do this just by feeding it a higher fat diet and without having to do the force feeding. But that issue, because recently it used to be banned pretty much, I think, in most states, but I think California, Texas, and a few other places have unbanned it, and as well as Texas has unbanned the sale and eating of horse meat. So my question to you,
unbanned.
It used to be a ban. You couldn't buy. I think you could bring it to Texas, but you couldn't prepare it here.
Yeah.
And I actually talked to, I think, a person who owns some horse ranch and someone who owned a butcher, and they thought it was good because basically whenever that animal dies, you have to spend a few grand burying it because it needs a bulldozer. You have to dig it, and it's just a lot of processing. Whereas if a bull dies, and this came up because they were showing me pictures of this bull that they had a butcher, and what happened was it had broken its leg, and they had to put it down, and they would have sold it. It was huge. It was one of the ones that I think it was a yak, but it had a big hump on its back. It was large for a bull.
Yeah.
Large for a bull in Texas. I think it was like the size of
a buffalo.
No, it was a bull. Okay. I think it was one of those rare, one of those mixed breed ones. That was probably like Angus with like something else, maybe actually a yak or something. And the muscles on it, they had definition.
Yes.
But because it was a bull, they were able to process the meat and get money from that. They didn't get the money they wanted because they wanted to sell it live or as a stud or something. But the point is they could process it.
But they made a profit on it.
Exactly, and they weren't out that money. Whereas if a horse dies because of the laws, they couldn't, and now they can. So my thoughts are to you. What about those? Like, where the...
I've prepared foie gras before. I've had foie gras. I've seen videos. Actually, one of the things that we did in school was watch videos of them feeding the geese force feeding. What they do is they just stick a tube down its throat.
It's not just
pump their stomach. But here's the thing: because we humans have a gag reflex that bothers us. Mm-hmm. From what I'm told, the geese can breathe through like almost follicles in their tongue. I don't know if follicles is the right word. So they have no gag reflex. Mm-hmm. That you can put the tube down their throat to feed them without them having trouble breathing. Mm-hmm. So they said it's not that like much damage. I understand it's damage on the body of the geese. Mm-hmm. But in my personal opinion, I have to cook with eggs. I have to cook with beef. I have to cook with different kinds of meat. I've in school had to prepare rabbit and other birds.
That's another sort of semi-controversial one because people still view it as a pet, but a lot of people, it's still pretty heavily eaten. Rabbit's eaten in restaurants. It's eaten for some people who just like have to, like that's the food that's available to them. I know lots of people who eat rabbit, but I also know lots of people who keep them as pets.
Well, I do have coworkers who are vegan and vegetarian. I ask them all the time, what are their thoughts about it? And for them, it's like, well, this is my personal choice. Mm-hmm. If I see there's been any, really malpractice or, if the produce we're getting, if the food we're getting has come from an unreputable source, then you would take issue. Yeah. But if not, well, to each their own kind of thing. If somebody wants to have eggs, let them have eggs kind of thing. And I guess I kind of follow in that. I mean, if I know that Because I personally like to eat all different kinds of foods.
Gras trees. So let us know. How did it taste?
It tastes really good. I did find an article on the Telegraph about these birds you were talking about. I had never heard about this. Ortolans.
Ortolans, is that how it's... Yep.
It's a songbird that's small enough to fit in the palm of your hand.
So it sings while it dies.
So how do you eat such a tiny bird? There's a ritual to eating an ortolan. Diners cover their head in a large napkin. Then they pop the entire bird into their mouth and eat everything save the feet, crunching the bones as they go. That is horrible.
So they don't eat the head?
They don't eat the...
Makes sense.
What says they cover...
So I'm assuming
the
they
napkin,
pick it up.
The napkin is partly to keep in all the aromas, partly to disguise you having to spit out some of the larger big bones.
So, the way you would want
but
to
mostly because diners wish to hide the shame of eating such a beautiful creature from the eyes of God.
Ah, I love that. Oh, they know what they're doing is wrong. Is that dirty tissue? I want to use the example.
These are dirty. These are dirty. Let me get you a clean.
Let me just mime it then. No, just stop. All right. So basically, you have your bird present, been drowned while singing, right? Take the napkin, voila. Shape a round hand, grab head of said adorable creature, Tweety bird if you will. Pick up, lift up slightly, thus hiding the act. I'm assuming you'd probably turn slightly to the edge to avoid the feet, bite in, pop it off.
And spit out.
If you need, if you must, I know also too to keep the aromas, because you really want to buy. You just ripped off its legs and body, and get that aroma of the armagh in there. As you in the meats and the savoriness and the little bits of the juice from the brain. And if you must and cannot, in fact, eat all the bones or the thicker bits, and perhaps it had large seeds for its last meal. And forgive me, Lord. Worth it. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in. If you like our stuff, please comment, like, share. We do appreciate it and hope you have an awesome year.
Yeah, we're going to have a lot of new videos and new content coming out.
We hope.